had to do with our intermediate student group wanting permission to eat outside at lunch. And it's a little complicated because we have a different lunchroom supervisor, plus 2 teachers, myself and my teaching partner, and a total of 20 students, all coming up with rules that we can all agree to. So there were 2 ideas. Idea number 1 was that somehow you need teacher permission when to go out. So it's on an individual basis. So some questions we had about that, there was a feeling that students could lie about whether or not they had food or were finished with their food. So some people were concerned about honesty, and some people were concerned about privacy. They weren't sure they wanted a teacher rifling through their lunch boxes. Okay, first of all, we introduced the concept of class meetings in the fall, and we spend a good deal of time, one, teaching students how it works, modeling what the leadership process is like, introducing students to the idea that they will all be class meeting leaders, and starting with topics that are meaningful to them. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say it's probably not a good idea to have it on specific days, like if we say just randomly every Wednesday we do it. But what if one of our Wednesdays is like out of nowhere, is like rainy or something?
So you're suggesting that it just doesn't necessarily work to pick a
Yeah,
day?
we like look at the weather and vote on it and stuff.
Well, I just also, not only with the weather, I just think it's kind of unnecessary because already when we did it this year and last year, we just like when someone wanted to eat outside, they just asked if anyone else did and we like voted. So I don't think like formal days would be necessary.
Does that change?
Well, I kind of thought they would just vote on any day.
On any given day that people want to, you just kind of vote in the moment?
Yeah.
Okay. Valerie?
I just want to say that I agree with Marnie and Rio's opinions.
Okay.
Bye, Val?
Well, my idea was that during the morning we sort of look at the weather report, and maybe on every Wednesday or some random day we can decide. I don't care. We decide if we want on that day that one day.
What if you want on a different day?
No,
Okay, so
we'll just stop
Excuse
like,
me, Jimmy has an idea. Please don't attack his idea before it's even out of his mouth. I think the biggest key, and in the models that I've read about class meetings, is they're often teacher driven, teacher content, teacher problems. The teacher is selling things that she or he want the students to address. I think the real shift that happens in my mind is making the agenda student driven. Even though the content may seem silly to an adult, it may not seem relevant, it may take 3 weeks of conversation to decide some simple thing like who's going to file the library books away. But that's not the most important part. So for me, it's not at all about the content or what we get done, it's about the process and the students taking ownership, listening to each other, and coming to joint decisions about how to solve their own problems. And that's really the key to it.
So when you said, what if Ms. Jana just can't take it? Well, the vote isn't only in the students. Like, the students will vote and then ask Ms. Jana. But the reason that we vote in the first place instead of just going to one is to make sure that everyone wants to do it.
All right, I have 2 proposals just in case Ms. Jana doesn't want one. The first one is that we have any chosen day of the week to decide from, and we can have more than one outdoor lunch. The other one is that we have 1 outdoor lunch a week.
Okay, well, let me clarify the proposal process. It's too confusing to have 2 competing ideas on the table at once, so what we do is we're going to choose one and then discuss it and then see if we agree on it and vote on it, then we don't need to. So which one are you the most behind yourself and you want to champion and support? And then at some point, they vote, and voting is 100% consensus model. Our voting system is a 0 to 5. A 5, they vote with their hands, so a 5 is total support for whatever the motion is. A 0 is absolutely no, there's no support whatsoever. A 3 is in the middle, and a 3 is kind of a neutral pass. May not be my favorite, but I can live with it as a concept. So 3 and a 4 and a 5 are a pass, and anything below a 2, 1, or a 0 are a rejection. And if even one student rejects anything about the proposal with a 0, a 1, or a 2, then the proposal is not passed, and we have to go back and work on it some more. And the way
Say, if it wasn't altogether, say somebody voted each time that we stay in and we all stay in. It's not fair.
Well, I'd like to point out one of the things that we usually, sometime over the year when we talk about consensus voting, somebody figures out that it works pretty well to try to achieve consensus in a group of 20 in a small classroom. But is this how we elect the president of our country?
Yeah.
No.
Is President Obama elected by absolute consensus, 100% people agreeing to vote for him? No. Why is it, do you think, that we vote for majority rule for the president and we use consensus in a classroom? Why can't we do it, why can't we all have consensus for a president?
Because there's way too many.
people
There's too
disagree.
many,
There's only 20 people in a class.
there's a lot of different opinions, it's very time consuming, it's hard, and it takes a lot of time and effort to bring people to consensus. So that process works really well for some things and not so well for other things. So kind of what Ivy's saying is there are some decisions maybe we need to have a different process for it. Max, I'm not clear what your vote is. Agreed, thank you for clarifying. Okay, I don't have a vote. Joe, what are your?
So the time we spend in the fall teaching the process and teaching them how to own their own agenda and their own problems is paid back 10 times over the course of the year as certain problems that could become behavior problems, that could become motivational problems, that could cause students to not work as hard as they could or work with us in the way that we would hope them to, that they will, are just kind of resolved because they know that they have this avenue, this venue once a week for them to bring their own issues to the table and that they will be heard. There is really no preconceived notion of what those problems should be or what the outcome should be. And so there's a lot of student support and buy-in for the whole year in everything we do because they know that we care about what they think, what they have to say, and they trust that their problems will get attention and will be honored with their own voice and their own solutions.
I just want to thank everybody a lot because, I mean, even if if like certain people had an issue or something, we just kind of put that aside and said, I just really want to get this done, so let's make that a bigger priority.
So people
Get
put the
in our
needs
way.
of the group ahead of their own personal needs today. Yeah, thank you. McLean.
I think we did quite well, and we got through the process. It was long and hard, and thank you for all.
Hard fought and well won.